Hello everybody, how you doing? Today I'm actually going. Today is a follow-up to my previous video, DmC Devil May Cry First Impressions. It's actually going to be a full-on review of the game, and like I said before, game's still in the Xbox. I'm trying to do 100% completion of it, but it is kind of tricky because some of the achievements are hard to get. I mean, they're easy to get, but it's hard. Like, just try it. But anyways. The game is really good. Like, it's a solid action title. It's a great way to start this year. Definitely a time sink for me until BioShock Infinite comes out, which is my most anticipated game of this year. Not a lot. I'm not really looking forward to a lot this year. I was a little excited for Dead Space 3, but the more I look at it, the more it looks like just Gears of Dead War Space 3. I know that's a kind of a generic joke, but I can't help but get that feeling from it. But anyways, back to DmC Devil May Cry, because that's what we're talking about. I do feel kind of ripped off, though, because apparently the Walmart version came with an art book. Maybe that was with the pre-order from the Walmart version, and I got mine at GameStop because I really wasn't thinking. I wasn't, like, when I got it, I wasn't really going to even get it. I was just like, alright, I'm a fan of the series, why not? And I'm happy I bought it. It's not perfect by any means, but it is a lot of fun. The action is very solid. But let's go into some issues real quick. Now, it no longer has the director's choice camera anymore. It's now like you control the camera. It's not like God of War or Dante's Inferno. It's just straight up like you're controlling the camera. There might have been a few moments where you can't really control it. I don't really remember, but I remember being in complete control of the camera throughout the entire game, which is nice. But I kind of like the Resident Evil style cameras, even though it kind of obstructs the action element, but not to complain about, but it's just kind of a thing. One issue I have, though, is that I think I mentioned this in my first impressions video, and you have to excuse me, I'm doing one of these walk-around videos. I don't know why I like doing this, but there's no lock-on feature with your character. Yeah, no, you just kind of... He kind of like auto-locks into something, and that gets really annoying. Especially, I remember, I was doing one of the challenge rooms, and I was trying to throw my angel weapons at these Frost Knights, and he kept throwing them at something else, like another enemy, and I'm just like, I don't want you to throw it at that, I want you to throw it at him. So why Ninja Theory didn't include a lock-on feature is beyond me. Instead of focusing on an auto-lock, which kind of sometimes got me chuckingly frustrated at the game, but it's nothing game breaking. It works 80% of the time, but where that 20% where it doesn't work, it makes you want to just pull your hair out, because it really isn't fair when you're trying to either change someone, pull yourself into them, or you try and change someone, pull them to you. It sometimes will go off and pick someone else that you weren't intending to get, even when you're looking at that other person. It's very annoying, and I hope if they make a follow-up to this, I hope they really, fix that. What other issues do I have? Oh yeah, load time. This could just be, just stubbed my toe. This could just be for the 360 versions, but the load times in this game can get a little unreal and a little annoying. No, not even a little. It's very annoying. It's like, it's a short game. It's like 8 hours long, even though I sunk about 10 hours in, because like I said, full completion. But there's a lot of moments in the game where you're just like, okay, I want to get to the action. Let's move. And here's one thing they really screwed up on. I played the game. I beat the game. I know all the story bits. I no longer need to see these cutscenes. And somehow they managed to screw up skipping the cutscene. In order to skip this cutscene, you have to press select or back, however the hell you talk about it. And you press it, sometimes it'll skip it. Other times, it'll go into a now loading thing where you'll see, is it on here? Is it on here, the symbol? No, it doesn't seem like they have it on here. Yeah, no, it's like the symbol that's on Dante's back. Yeah, you see that, the now loading thing, and like it'll be halfway through the cutscene, or at least 75% of the way through the cutscene before it finally, skips the cutscene. I thought that's like one of the easiest. I guess it is harder to do than I thought, but it's just like I just want to skip the cutscene. I want to go farther in this game. Don't just let me skip. I know the plot. Let's move this. I beat this part already. I don't know why this cutscene is taking longer than it should. Maybe I have to install the game, but I shouldn't have to install the game onto my hard drive just to skip a cutscene. A cutscene that is no longer important to me. I can understand early in the game if they don't want you to skip the cutscenes because they want you to know what's going on. I mean, Conker's Bad Fur Day did that, and that's one of the greatest games ever made. But it's just like, this is the year 2013, people. Skipping cutscenes, if I want to do it, I want to do it if I've already played through the game. Don't interrupt me. It just take me right to the action. And it gets kind of frustrating, especially when I did a mission before, and I'm just like, okay, skip cutscene. And it's just like, okay, you just completed 90% of the cutscene. You defeated the purpose of me wanting to skip the cutscene. So that's a really bad move on Ninja Theory's part. Maybe they'll release a patch for it. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, really? You couldn't have fixed that? It's a cutscene. It can't be that hard to have a game skip a cutscene. I thought, like, I played through the game already. Everything should be loaded. Like, I thought that was the point of the load screen that takes about 15 minutes to load up, is that the level's loaded and I could skip everything that I don't want to do. But anyways, it's a bigger problem than you might think it is, because like I said, once you're done the game, it's just like, I know the plot, I don't need to see the scenes. Maybe if I was playing with someone else around who wanted to see the cutscenes, I'd let them play. But me personally, I just want to play through the missions again because I want to get that triple S ranking. And here's another, like, it's not a big deal because the first one were difficult with this. Sometimes it's a little too hard to get that triple S ranking, especially on the first mission. For some reason, I do all the cool moves and tricks and stuff like that, you know, flipping enemies up in the air, switching weapons, switching guns. And for some reason, I can never get the triple S style points. I can get the triple S everything else, but for some reason, style points just won't go triple S. And for some reason, it only seems to be that level that you need triple S on everything, because I've done other levels where I've gotten 2 triple S's and 2 doubles, and it will give me a triple S ranking. I don't know where the barrier breaks for the game of, you know, being a double S ranking and a triple S. It's not that big of a deal. It's just that I really need to try harder, I guess. Now, what other complaints do I have? Dante's not as cool as he was in Devil May Cry 3. Devil May Cry 3 is the best in the series. I don't care what anyone says. Some people say that game's too hard, but that's one of those. I think, honestly, in reality, I think I dumped more hours into that game than any other game I played. I'm not sure if I said that before, because of its difficulty and how many times I had to replay everything. But it was good because it was a solid, fun game. I love the characters. I love Dante. He's pretty much, I think he's one of my favorite characters in video games ever. He's that cool. And he's not as cool. I don't really care about his look that much because he doesn't look that ridiculous. I know Angry Joe said he looks kind of emo and silly. He doesn't really look like that. I mean, he kind of does, but it's not that bad when I thought about it. The more I thought about it, it's not like how it was in the original teaser trailer where that was pretty bad. He is definitely scrawnier than the other Dante. And Virgil, he's not as honorable as he was in the other ones. That's something someone else pointed out, and I also just like kind of realized it. And honestly, the twist at the end wasn't that big of a surprise, because if you play the other DmC games, you're just kind of like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen, so ta-da. But the final boss fight is actually really cool. It's definitely worthy to, that fight alone is definitely worthy of a Devil May Cry title. But here's one other thing I think about the game. This game did not necessarily need to be a reboot. I think the only reason why it's called a reboot is because Ninja Theory and Capcom decided that it's a reboot and just not another prequel. I would have been okay if it was a prequel, if they would have said it's showing how Dante became the demon hunter he is today. That's fine. It'd be a prequel to 3. You know, I think this game series is starting to take the Zelda route, where there's no sequel, like actual sequel to Devil May Cry 2. There's 1 through 4, but 3 was a prequel and 2 took place between 1 and 2. Even though Devil May Cry 4 had the younger voice Dante, where Devil May Cry 1 had the older voice Dante. But whatever. Excuse me. But anyways, like I said, this is just a reboot, in just because they call it a reboot. And really, I kind of get annoyed that no one, like throughout the entire game, no one pronounces Mundus right. It's not Mundus. I remember in the first one, and I looked it up on YouTube too to be sure. He's not called Mundus. His name is pronounced Mundus, not Mundus. Like I said, I looked up Devil May Cry 1 YouTube videos, and they said Mundus, not Mundus. But if that's just the biggest complaint I can get with the games, like if that's one of the bigger complaints, then you got a solid title here. No, but in reality, the title is very solid. It's a fun action game. The difficulty is more along the lines of Devil May Cry 2, but there's plenty of difficulty settings. I mean, there's a ton. Once you beat the game, you get another difficulty setting. Then we beat that one. You also unlock 3 other ones. You start with Human, Devil Hunter, and Nephilim. I started on Nephilim because I'm a old school Devil May Cry player. I played through 1 through 4, so really I knew I wasn't gonna have that hard of a time. And then Son of Sparta unlocks, which is even harder. Then there's Dante Must Die, Heaven or Hell, or Hell and Hell. And I forget what Dante Must Die is like, but I know that Heaven or Hell is enemies die in one hit, but so do you. Which, if you have the good reflexes, that shouldn't be, too hard. Even though getting a style ranking would be aggressively difficult. Because, like I said, all enemies die in one hit, so you really can't get those points up unless there's like a ton of enemies. And then there's Hell or Hell mode, where the enemies have normal life, but Dante dies in one hit. So, like, in that one, I think would be the hardest, because every once in a while you will get hit. You just can't avoid it. So there's definitely replay value here in just terms of difficulty. The game doesn't last that long. I beat it in about 8 hours, but my play time is increasing because, like I said, 100%ing it. So there's definitely more to come back to, and apparently, I didn't start playing on Son of Sparta yet, but things change in the game. I don't know how much they change, but the story's still the same, obviously. And soon there's going to be cool DLC coming out. It's called Virgil's Downfall, which I actually will download because I wanted to play more of this. Yeah, and the game's story is also really cool. Like I said before, it's just a similar story to They Live. Very similar to the movie They Live and the movie Branded, which you gotta see to believe. But yeah, it has that classic kind of sci-fi horror feel. And if you like B movies, the game's definitely for you, because it definitely has that vibe to it. You know, Limbo's kind of like how in They Live, when you put on the glasses, you see everything. Limbo's like that in what shows. So yeah, the developers definitely, took heavy inspiration from They Live. Even though I think it's kind of ironic that a video game is trying to teach me a lesson about consumerism. But anyways, if I had to give this a 1 to 5, I'd give it a 4. 1 to 10, I'd give it about an 8. Not perfect, but a heck of a lot of fun. Tons of replay value for you. Definitely rent it first if you're iffy, but if you're a fan of Devil May Cry, it's worth picking up. And I'm sick of the complaints because of, Dante's look. It's not about that. It's about the fun, fast gameplay, and you should enjoy that. That's what it's for you. It's for us. And I know Angry Joe said that they kind of gave the fans slap to the face with Dante's new look, and there's that one joke where he has, the white haired wig on, and he says, "Not in a million years," and he takes it off. And he said that's pretty much a slap to the face. I'm just like, it's just a little Easter egg joke. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, they make plenty of other references in the game, like the achievement list is just a bunch of references to the older games. So clearly, they have a love for the older Devil May Cry games. So, like, I don't think they hated it. I mean, maybe they said they hated the old Dante and they wanted to change him. But as of now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because Ninja Theory knows how to make good games. I haven't played Enslaved or Heavenly Sword, but this game, if I'm going to use that as, their standard, I'm going to say they know how to make good games. Apparently, Enslaved is really good. I think that's what the game's called. And Heavenly Sword, I also heard, is really good. And Ninja Theory knows how to tell an interesting story. Even though the plot twist wasn't that big, the bosses, I can tell you one thing, are really cool. They're not too hard, but some of them really grotesque looking, and the final boss fight is probably one of the best I've played in a long time, even if it's not a giant monster. But anyways, definitely pick up Devil May Cry, DmC Devil May Cry. It's worth your time, or just rent it. That's my review for DmC Devil May Cry. I'm done wasting your time. Anyway, guys, y'all take care.